Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials.
Good morning, it's 6:30 on Saturday the 1st of May. Just making my way down to the land, and as always, not quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land. Sun is out over the tree line and very, very bright this morning. Still cool. Had a little bit of ice on the window, but not on the ground this morning. But I don't know if you can see this. Can you see that? That's water. We actually had some rain in the night. How nice is that? So yeah, I'm very, very keen to get down and look at the plants in the outside raised beds and see how they've got on, because I've been watering all week and worrying that they might get too dried out. But looking at the grass this morning, very nice to see a little bit of water on the ground. Anyway, as always, not quite sure what we're going to be up to today. I suspect a bit of planting, bit of construction, checking on the chickens and pondering as usual. But I'll keep you posted as I go through the day with whatever it is I do get up to. But first things first, let's get the cabin opened up. And I don't think I'm going to need a fire this morning. I don't think so. We'll see. Well, first things first, say good morning to the chickens. And these little red ones, the blacktails, they just deliberately hang around me because they know that I've got a separate bag full of this aniseed flavoured seed. And they go absolutely crazy for this. Absolutely crazy. They're certainly the more relaxed of the chickens. The bluebells, they kind of just keep themselves to themselves and tend to avoid me a little bit, whereas these red ones with the black tails, they're always hanging around me every time I come in. Smarter maybe, because they know I've got something a little bit special in here. What we got here, chaps? Huh? Yes. They know. I just topped everything up. The really good thing is, having had that bit of rain last night, the water barrel should be filled up, and it is. It's about halfway to 2/3 full, whereas previously it's been literally down here hovering at the edge of where these cups come out. So another night of rain and they'll be full, and then I can stop panicking about water. It has been a chore for, oh God, months now, since I started planting out. I had to be running around with a watering can at least twice a week during the week, and then of course at the weekends. Cockerel's eyeing up my bag of goodies. Get out of there. Let me get rid of that before they steal it. Right, let's go and have a little look inside the coop and see what we've got in there. There should be some eggs in there, and I'm hoping there's going to be about 3 or 4 in there, because I collected 3 on Thursday. So there's yesterday and whatever they've managed to produce this morning. So there's 2. That'll be yesterday. Have we got anything else? they're always using this end one, and if there is an overflow, it pops into here. So let's not complain. That's 2 from yesterday, so that's good. We'll see if they've produced any more by the end of the day. Water's okay, feed is okay. I might top that water up before I leave today. We'll see, I guess. So there we go. Happy chickens. It is nice to see my little group. I noticed down here on Thursday and on Tuesday, also if I run round the outside, make sure there's no digging, but I noticed Tuesday and Thursday, do you remember the ducks that were here before? They're still here. There was a male and a female literally just walking around the outside of the coop. Clearly they were watching the chickens and thinking, they've got food, I want some of that. I'm hoping it's not too long before the chicken's little vegetable garden starts to sprout. I don't see anything yet in there. And I'm just looking. Oh, there is. There is. I don't know if you'll see this or not. Can you see that there? I'm hoping you can. There's a little row of seeds. There we go. And the more I look, there's some more over there. In fact, there's a whole row going on down there. So we've got, I don't know if that's lettuce or borage. Looking at the number, I'm guessing that's lettuce. So that's good. I'm really keen to get that growing. And that reminds me, actually, I brought a little treat for them in my bag, some greens. So I'll pull that out later. I'll let them get over the giddiness of the seed I've just put out, because they are still going at it. And I'll give them the greens later during the day. Right, let me get these popped back into the cabin, and I think we'll have the kettle on. I'll check those rainwater barrels as well and see where they are today. It's nice, really nice, to see a bit of wet on the field. I will run round with you a little bit later so you can see what's happened in the raised beds and the garden room in the polytunnel. But for now, I'm going to get myself in and get the kettle on. Well, good morning. It's the weekend. And to be fair, although it's a bit cool, the sun is out and very bright. And I think if it's anything like the week we've just had, by 11 o'clock it's going to be toasty. But the big bonus today is we've had some rain overnight. Quite a few people commented during the last week or two. I've mentioned weather several times in recent videos, and quite a few people have commented saying it's not just me. It is happening everywhere. Unseasonable weather, which it is here for sure. There was an article on the news channel, I think it was last Monday or Tuesday, can't remember now, commenting about unseasonable weather. They were saying that so far this year we're actually down 4 degrees over where we normally would be, and it's been the coldest April since the 80s, so you've got 40 years there, and also the driest. And I've commented lots recently about the lack of rain. It is, or has been, very unseasonable. Normally spring, you associate spring with wet weather, and all we've had is frost and dry spells all the way through this year so far. So really nice this morning to see a little bit of rain on the field, and the water barrels starting to fill up. I was a little bit concerned because I was working my way through those 2,000 litres of stored water at the end of the cabin there, and I was having visions of last year. You remember we had a really prolonged summer spell last year, and I'd only extended the rainwater harvesting off the cabin roof, so they were empty. And all the way through that period, and it was several months worth of really hot, dry weather, I was bringing water in from home. Now that was a chore, and I certainly don't want to be repeating that this year. So fingers crossed, we're gradually getting back to normal, and I'll have lots of water storage on the field ready for the summer season. I will run round the plants with you later on. I just wanted to grab a coffee and have a little ponder. I have brought a couple of things in with me this morning. There's a few things bee related, there's a few things seed and planting related. I've also got a lovely cabbage there for the chickens to play with, give them a bit of greenery. I threw some grass cuttings in last weekend and they went crazy for that. So I'm guessing they'll do the same with that. I might even be tempted, those cauliflowers that were in that barrel that got decimated by the pigeons, I glanced at them as I came in this morning and I was thinking, do I leave them and hope they recover, or do I just cut my losses? So you might find that they might be going into the chicken coop as well later on today. In terms of news, all seems fairly quiet around the world right now. There are a few bits and pieces going on in India with COVID. Israel had a bit of an issue with a religious festival. There was a mass stampede and quite a few people died there. I don't know why people are doing that. Everyone's running around getting excited about COVID, and then at the same time they're all running around getting excited with mass gatherings. Just logic, where's the logic? I don't get it. But no, the main thing on the radar really, and it is starting to sneak into the news media now, is around the economy and supply chain. I mentioned the other week about shortages in the supply chain. Predominantly the big story was around computer chips for the electronics industry and the vehicle manufacture industry. They've now broken stories in the news media that actually the shortages are much more widespread than that and affect pretty much everything across the supply chain. Why is that? Predominantly it's because here in Western countries we don't manufacture much anymore. We are totally dependent on Asia, most notably China. And of course with COVID last year in 2020, you remember that everything shut down. So all of the warehouses around the world, as we went through 2020 and the COVID crisis, all of the warehouses just got emptied and there was no refilling or restocking because the factories were closed. Now, as we've come out of 2020 and started into 2021, the manufacturing factories are starting to go back to work and produce things, but all of those warehouses around the world are still empty or slightly full. So there's been a mass drive of ordering into the supply chain to try and restock all of those warehouses. And of course, you can't just flick a switch. You know, the factory opens, but it's only making the same now as it was last year on a daily basis. So you can't just suddenly open a floodgate and magically those warehouses suddenly become full again. It is going to take quite a long time. And therein lies the issue now. Everyone's opening up here in Western countries, manufacturing starting back up again. All of your normal food supplies and household goods supply shops are opening up. So the demand is returning, and of course there isn't the supply there. So that's led to a mass shortage. Since we're shipping stuff from the Far East, the only way it can really get here in bulk is by container ship and cargo ship. So all of the container ships have suddenly shot across the water to the west, but that means there's no containers back in Asia to load up. So the supply chain is grinding to a halt. All of these containers are on the wrong side of the water, if that makes sense. So yeah, the supply chain is creaking, and it wouldn't take much for it to just grind to a halt and for you to start seeing the shortages again in the shops. So certainly something to keep an eye on, and if you haven't been stocking up, why? And please do keep topping up with a whole range of things, not just food, things that you do use on a daily basis, because as the availability drops, it's only logic that the price rises. So don't get caught out, make sure you are topping up, and hopefully you won't be affected by that. Other side of the economy, the financial side, lots of stories and chatter in the news media, in social media, about the potential collapse of the dollar. If you're just continually printing money, magicking it out of fresh air, sooner or later, all of the other countries around the world are going to say, well, hang on a minute, your dollar isn't worth anything anymore. They're everywhere. You can use them for wallpaper if you want. The value is nil. We're not at that point yet, but a lot of people are saying that we're rapidly getting to that point, where the level of debt and the level of magic money that's been produced out of thin air causes a crash. And of course, once the financial markets collapse, then so too do other markets, such as the housing market and the jobs market. So again, something to keep an eye on. There is no real magic solution other than stay in work. Sounds a bit basic, but it's true. Stay in work, even if you hate your job, stay there, because it's better to be receiving a regular paycheck than not. Because one thing that does happen when there's an economic crisis is that governments suddenly start reining in their spending to try and correct. And when they rein in spending, it's people who are out of work or who are reliant on the system that suffer the most. So a couple of points there, all connected with economy, standard of living. Keep an eye on the supply chain, and hang on to your money because you are going to need it. Plans for today, as always, difficult to say. It is easy for me to get distracted. There are a couple of little construction type projects that I want to be making a start with this weekend. I doubt highly they'll all be finished this weekend because there's too many of them, and a little bit more planting. But as always, I'll do as much of the videoing as I can while I'm doing those, so that you can see where it is that I'm up to. But for now, I'm going to enjoy this bit of sunshine that's just starting to creep into the garden room. I might even move out there, take the chair out and sit in the sun while I finish off this coffee. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, enjoy your weekend, stay safe, and I'll catch up with you all later. They're not quite sure what to do. They go, cabbage, what's this? This little red one's hanging around. It's thinking I've got some of that aniseed. And I haven't, chickens, I'm sorry. It's a bit of greenery for you. They're gradually figuring it out. These strange green things. No, it's not grass. I'm going to leave them to it. Got a few bits and pieces here that's come in the post today. Bee related. The first of these is, I don't know if you'll see those or not on the video. They're little stainless steel mesh sieves, and essentially what these are for, they're for straining the honey when it comes out of the honey extracting machine that I showed you last week. So these just simply sit on top of the plastic buckets underneath that outlet valve on the extractor, and as the honey comes through, it just sieves out any remaining bits of beeswax or anything else that might be in there. So that's those, which is very nice. I'm a long way ahead of myself in terms of the bees. I haven't even got the bees yet, but I'm gradually, while I can, buying the different supplies that I'm going to need. Come the glorious day that I actually start extracting some honey from the hives. So that's that. The other things, I'm not quite sure how I feel about these actually, as this is all a learning curve, but it's all of the various protective clothing that you need. So I've got some nice leather long sleeved gloves there. I've seen lots of people on beekeeping videos on YouTube, and they actually don't bother with this. They well, they bother with one thing, which we'll come to in a moment, but I see them regularly. They're around the hives and they're completely bare hands, sleeves, t-shirts, you know, and they're actually diving into the hive and the bees are all buzzing around, and I'm thinking, how are you not getting stung? So I'm going to look like something off Darth Vader on Star Wars when I first start experimenting with the hive. I'll certainly be wearing this stuff until my confidence grows and I get to understand the activity, and I guess you can judge what mood they're in. This other big bag is the beekeeping suit itself. So I've got a huge full-length suit there to cover the entire body. We've even got, look, a Union flag. I've got to display it now it's there. If I can unravel this, there we go, look at that. How nice is that? But the key bit is this. It's the face mask. Of all the videos I've seen, they always have a face mask on. even if they're wearing t-shirts. So just thought I'd share that with you. As I said, I'm a long way yet from my bees, but they are coming, so I do want to be ready for them when they do. And I'm hoping that over time, I don't need all of this. I can get away with just maybe a little hood or mask. But I'm really looking forward to the arrival of the bees. Whether I'll get any honey this year remains to be seen, but I'm doing everything I can to kind of gear myself up so that I've got all of the supplies that I need when they do arrive. So fingers crossed, watch this space, you might see some bees shortly. You might remember I said I was going to sow some wildflowers along the bottom of this woodland, which I've just been working on, but while I've been doing that, anybody have any idea what that is? I see these around from time to time, saw a few last year, and I have no idea what wild plant that is. So anybody knows, tell me what they are. I've cleared out a little patch just here as a starting point, and I've just planted some of those wildflowers. There's a bit of a mixture there, cornfield mixtures and actual cornflowers themselves, and gradually over time I'll try and seed all the way down this woodland, primarily to get rid of these damned nettles that are everywhere, but just to add a bit of variety as well into the woodland, and hopefully they'll self-seed and just grow and grow and grow. So bit by bit I'll do a little patch here and there, all the way down. It's also food for the bees, assuming they can survive this environment. Who knows, it's all an experiment. I thought we could have a quick look around the planting before I get launched into my little construction type projects. And to be fair, everything in here is doing really well. Strawberries, lots of flowers on the strawberries on these two pots. True potato seeds putting out lots of additional leaves now, so I'm getting multiple kind of adult leaves, if that makes sense, rather than the little first leaves of germination. So I'm keen to see how they progress. I'm tempted to leave them in these buckets rather than transplant them out into bigger ones. I guess it depends how big the foliage gets. I'm not really expecting lots of tubers on these, but hopefully I will get tubers, and then I can replant the tubers for a main crop. Fruit trees all looking very nice, plenty of healthy growth on these, and they've got plenty of space to keep going up to the roof. They'll certainly be okay in here for the rest of the year. Quite encouraging this cherry tree, which was the one that I had my doubts about. It's putting out lots of new side shoots out of these stems, so really pleased with that. Seeds, it's a tale of two halves, a bit like football. Those marigolds coming on nicely. I will be planting some of those out into the raised beds outside. And look at all these tomatoes shooting up now. Every tray actually has germinated, because the ones here on this side that look like they've got nothing in them, they were cucumbers, and in fact one of them is just breaking surface here now. So good result with the tomatoes, and hopefully that's the first of, I'm hoping all of them, of the cucumbers. Not such a good story with the peas that I planted. Absolutely nothing in this tray at all, and similarly nothing in this tray at all, and I don't really know why that is. I've tried two different kinds of pea seeds, I'm just wondering if I've gone too early and got a bit excited with the watering and they've become waterlogged. I might be tempted to dig one of these out and just see what's happening in there. Cauliflower in this tray, too early yet to expect the seeds to break out. But I did keep a couple of these cells where I thought there was no true potato seeds, and there are. These two cells have got little plants in, so I'll take care of those over the coming weeks, and hopefully that'll give me another big pot of true potato seeds. Borage coming on very well. I'm tempted to leave those for another week before I start transplanting those out. I guess we'll see how we get on. So that's the garden room. I showed you the chickens' little raised bed, so we'll not go there. Outside raised beds, those swede are coming on really well now. Very pleased with those. The marigolds that I put in, unfortunately, have been hammered by the frost. Clearly, they were in far too soon. So I'll give it maybe next weekend, and those marigolds that I've got in the garden room can come out here, because they've all died off. And it is the frost. There's nothing else. It's not watering because they've been watered. It's definitely the frost. I'll come back to that in a minute. Onions doing real well, as is the garlic. I've got a couple of onions there that I've left in. They were from last year. I might pull those. I keep saying that, don't I? But I might. The little broccoli seedlings and cauliflower seedlings that went in, they've hung in there. There are a couple of casualties down this side. Again, that's the frost. But they are hanging in, so hopefully these will take and go on to produce bigger plants. Potato barrels. We are actually getting potatoes now. That's the first one out of this barrel. And this one, have we got anything in there? Oh, we have, look. There we go. Just breaking surface. So we've got potatoes in this one. This is going to be far too early. This has only just gone in, this one. Yeah, there's nothing in there. So there's a barrel missing from here. And what I've done, in all honesty, I mentioned it earlier on, I've rearranged these three barrels, can't even say it, barrels of potatoes in order of succession, oldest to newest. And then the one that had those cauliflowers that had survived winter but didn't survive the pigeons, I've moved that round the back here. So that's empty right now. It did have some organic fertiliser in it earlier in the year, but I might be tempted to put a little bit more in and just leave that and pop some potatoes in a little bit later on. I'm going well overboard with potatoes, as you know. The idea is that I get sufficient through the year so I don't have to buy any, and hopefully at the end of the year end up with a crop to store through the winter. Polytunnel. We're back to potatoes again, but these are doing really well. I'm really pleased. Having been hit hard by the frost, these have now, I mounded them up and they've put out lots of new growth, so no problems at all there. These two buckets, I think, had potatoes. Yeah, they did, but they're too new. There's nothing at all showing in there. And these two were left just for succession planting. You can tell because it's just dry compost in there, as opposed to this one which has been watered. So we'll see how long it takes for those to come out. As soon as I see those coming out and I mound them up, I'll do the same with these two. I'll plant into these two containers. Carrots. look at that, they've gone crazy. You'll remember the original ones that were planted 6th of February, only a few actually came through, but they are nice and healthy now. There's not many of them, but they are decent. The next bucket, they've gone crazy. That was 27th of March, so we're at a month now, and we're already starting to see mature leaves on those, as opposed to the you know, they're just the normal double germination leaves. And then moving on, these were 10th of April, and we're getting growth in those, decent growth in those. They will be full buckets for sure. These I might need to transplant because there's too many in there, but we'll see. And then finally, this was, when was this? 10th of April, and we're getting decent growth out of those as well. So after a shaky start at the end, we've recovered. So I don't know whether I'll do it this weekend. I might be tempted to put another 2 in this weekend. We'll see, I guess. I don't want to overdo it and end up with them all coming at the same time. I want succession cropping through the year. Plenty of buckets to go at. They're all there, ready and waiting. We'll see. I might miss this week and do it next week. The elderberry tree cuttings that I took, they've all survived. Well, I say all of them. I think there was maybe one didn't survive. Yeah, this one. But all the others are, and are putting on fresh growth. That's new leaves there. That's new leaves there. So yeah, even this one has put out from its roots. So although it looks like a dead twig, it isn't. It's got some growth at the bottom there. This one is, I'm fairly convinced. But it's not going to hurt to leave it there. Hopeful for those this year. You can, allegedly, within the space of a year, start to get berries. So I'll use these as fill-in around the hedges, and I'll just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until I end up with lots and lots and lots of trees around the field boundary. Lavender cuttings are all surviving. I will keep this as my sort of parent plant and just keep taking cuttings, and similar kind of thing. Get lots and lots of this around the field, and particularly around the raised beds. It'll be nice for the bees to feed on, but hopefully it'll put off some of the other insects. As the strawberries are transplanted last weekend, as you can see, they're already into flower now, so they're clearly happy in their new tub, and I've got lots to go at over there. I do want a separate planter somewhere outside, and hopefully those will spread around the field as well over successive years. Blueberry bush, the older one, as was last week, lots and lots of flowers on those. That's going to be full of fruit before too much longer. And the younger one is putting out lots of new growth, going really crazy. At some point this is going to have to get thinned out a little bit, as indeed is this. I might try taking cuttings of that to produce more bushes. Cranberry, that's hung in well through the winter. Even the cutting I took of that cranberry is has taken and is putting out new growth, so really pleased with that. Fig tree, you'll remember that got hammered with that heavy frost we had about a month ago now. It had kind of got ahead of itself and put out lots of growth, assuming that it was spring, which technically it was, but it got completely hammered, all of them. But it is putting out lots of new buds to replace these leaves that got killed off, and even better, I guess, it's putting out new growth at the base. This stem, as you can see, had got completely hammered but it's putting out replacement growth from the base, so that's good as well. A couple of stray swede seedlings there. I need to get those out at some point. It's a shame to waste them. They've done the best for me, so I'll get them outside before they start to die off because they've got no space. So that's it. That's how we're looking in the polytunnel. At some point today I'm going to start construction in here. I've got this wood that I got last week ready to go around the outside. The general idea is, as I did before, I framed, put some support structures in to try and keep this stable through the winds, but the idea is to continue that all the way around and to the front here of the polytunnel, construct some kind of framework at the door for a gate, and then, I keep saying it, this plastic sheeting is coming off to be replaced by netting, and then the theory is I don't need to worry about overheating in the summer, and I also don't need to worry too much about watering, assuming of course that we continue to get rain through the year. So that's where we are. I may as well, while I'm out here, I did notice last week quite a few of these bushes that I'd put in. You remember the hawthorns all died off, so I've got a few twigs just sat in the ground that are doing nothing, but I'm pleased I did leave them because some of them have recovered. This one's particularly nice, so I will just leave those in there. You'll also remember not too long ago I popped in a few more hawthorn bushes and some privet, and you can see that they're also producing leaves, so they're all doing well. So over time I will have an extension of this little hedgerow coming off the drainage ditch. The idea is it'll fill in this little section here with decent hedging. So that's it. I've got a few construction bits I want to be doing today, or trying to do today. I've got a couple of roof sheets. I've talked endlessly about this water tank cabinet, and you can see where the roof has started to collapse in the centre. Something's definitely been climbing on here, and it looks like a fairly decent sized bird has been sitting on here as well. So yeah, this is coming off to be replaced by a better quality roof. This has seen me now for what, year and a half, not too far off 2 years. And it was originally designed to be temporary with this very thin plywood sheeting, which, as you can see, has died in the weather. So it is time I got this sorted out. So there's this, there's the polytunnel. I wanted to make a strawberry planter out of that pallet. I've started work laying out the base for this storage area. The list is endless. The more I walk around, the more things there are. But hopefully I'll have an extension off this tractor garage before too much longer and fill this area in for storage. So, plenty to keep me busy. And which do you do first? Time is always the enemy, and also distraction, because as I wander around I keep seeing things and thinking to myself, oh, I just need to do this. So the plan quickly descends into chaos. But hopefully we'll get stuff done today, and I'll keep you posted with little clips of video as I go through the day. But sun is out and it's looking to be not a bad day. There are some clouds in the sky. It is forecast for rain over the weekend. Hopefully it'll wait until tonight and let me get on with stuff. Well, I've started digging in the woodpile to decide how I'm going to re-roof this water cabinet. I was surprised, to be fair, how well the the framework has stood up because it's been exposed to the weather for a year and a half, maybe more, and we get an awful lot of direct sun on this south facing side. In fact, you can see, which is another job I need to do, don't let me get distracted now though, you can see how this lap joint wood on the original cabin has started to bow out at the joint as it's had that really high strong sun. It's doing it here as well, look. So that's another job to do at some point. So yeah, I'm amazed how well this cabinet's stood up to the weather. Apart from that roof, which was ridiculously thin ply, you can see it down there. It's literally sort of 3mm, if that. It's very thin, put it that way, and was always intended to be temporary, but with one thing and another it just ended up being permanent until today. Really nice to see the tanks are all filled, even though I've been using them for the last couple of weeks. I've still got over 1,000 litres in each. There's the 1,000 litre mark, and the well, you can see it here, it's way past the 1,000 litre mark. So yeah, that was a really good investment, and in coming years hopefully I'll expand this even further, but for now it is what it is, and I need to re-roof because, wouldn't you know it, the sky's getting dark, and I suspect I might get rained on before too much longer, but I'm not complaining. Well, there's the first sheet in. I'm going to need another 2 at least to span this. This is recycled. It was it came off another building, and I managed to get this picked up for free. So I've got a selection of sheets here that I'm just trying to cut out the good bits to use on this. Recycle, reuse, and save a little bit of money. Well, there we go. That's the roof on, thankfully, because it keeps spitting with rain. I'm just terrified I wouldn't get this done before the rain came. But it's on, and what's even better is the sheets were free, so bargain. You can't get cheaper than free, can you? This sky is just not letting up. It's threatening with rain. It is definitely coming. I'm going to need to get this wood covered up, and I'll see if I can't get a bit done inside the polytunnel, because if it rains it doesn't matter, I'm under shelter. So wish me luck. Well, I'm guessing you can hear that. What you probably can't see is it's actually hailstones mixed in with the rain. How bizarre is that? I'm just moving around to see if you can see it, but you can't really. You have to take my word for it. It's hailstones mixed in with a bit of rain. Anyway, I'm going to have a little cup of coffee It's 1:30 already. I don't know where the day's gone. I've brought a little bit of wood inside to go with these big, I don't know what you call them, they're 4x4 inch posts. So I'll potter with those once I've had my coffee, but I'm starting to lose the light already. And I can't keep popping out to the wood pile because I've covered it up now. I think it's going to be one of those days today. In fact, you can see it on the wood pile. Little hailstones, look. How bizarre. Well, the heavens have just opened with a vengeance. I was just taking a look in the pontoon at those wooden posts while my coffee cooled down a little bit, and it's just, I'm guessing you can hear it. The hail has changed to rain. I think we'll get flooded out if we're not careful. But it's good, it's going to fill the water barrels up, and that's what I wanted, so I'm not complaining. Well, I keep braving the rain, it comes and goes. I've topped up the two small old raised beds and I've put in a new raised bed, filled them all up with compost. So I thought, for something a little bit different, I'd pop strawberries into these old beds. It's where I had the pumpkins and squash last year. I think they'll be alright in there. Try and make sure I get them at the edges so they can hang over as they grow. Well, so far so good. Some major roots on that one. There's some cranberry cuttings in there. I'm tempted to put those in actually. I'll finish the strawberries first though. Bit of a gamble this, I don't know if the birds will take them or not. I'm guessing they will when the strawberries appear, but as they are now, I don't know. Don't know if pigeons like strawberries. I know they'll probably like the berries, but I don't know about the actual plant leaves. I guess we'll find out shortly. Oh, there's one bed done. I'll pop a few in the middle and then I'll move over to that bed. Seems a bit daft watering the raised bed when it's been raining, but there's fresh compost on top, so I want to make sure that they're not going to dry out before tomorrow when I come back. Well, that's the strawberries planted out. Been meaning to do that for ages, but in all honesty I couldn't decide where to put them. And these beds are small enough, they should absolutely drown out those small beds. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with this one. Haven't made my mind up yet. There's lots of things I do want to plant. I've even toyed with the idea of planting some sweet corn just to see how it grows. I don't mean a whole field obviously, but just I don't know, a dozen or so, and just see what happens. I've also filled up this pot over here with the excess strawberries, so again we'll see how we get on. In fact, that's just reminded me, because I've watered the others but I haven't watered this one. There's always one more thing, isn't there? Well, I just couldn't resist. I've got a couple of packets of sweet corn seeds, so I'm just going to pop those in and see how we get on. I've never planted this before, so I have no idea really, but I figure it's worth a shot. There we go. Not many seeds, but we'll give it a try and see what happens. This compost is better than the last one I had, but it's still a bit of a pain having to break it up. Okay, we'll just pat that down a bit. so it's making contact with the seeds, and then we'll see what happens. I'll give it a bit of a watering, and hopefully the critters won't get it. There we go, job done. Well, that's everything watered and the polytunnel's locked up. One last thing. I just want to pop in quickly and see if the chickens have produced anything for me today. Let's take a little look. You never know. Wow, we've got 3. Now I am stunned. That's 3 since this morning. Nothing in that one. I don't believe that. Get back in there, you. Go, 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 go. Go on. These red ones are always following me. It's trying to do an escape. Right, I'll come back. There's the other one, look. They always come. What are you after? Have you eaten all that cabbage? You have, haven't you? I've got another bit. I'll bring it out in a minute. Well, 3 eggs. I can't believe it. Since this morning. One of the bluebells must have started laying, because there's the 2 from this morning that were yesterday's eggs, and now I've got 3 more, and that one is markedly smaller than the others, look. So I reckon one of the bluebells is laying. I'm going to pop in with some cabbage for them as a thank you. I've just given them the rest of that cabbage, and they are enjoying that, it has to be said. Now I know what they like. I've just topped the water up as well and locked everything up in the coop. Hopefully we'll have some vegetables of our own here before much longer, because the seeds are sprouting. I can see them all now. So hopefully we'll get their little vegetable garden going, and that'll save me having to go buy it. There'll be loads coming out of the garden during the summer as I harvest different things, so I'm not too worried for then, but over the short term I do need to give them a few greens here and there. So come on, raised bed, hurry up. I want some lettuce. Well, that's it for another day. Chickens are happy now. Got some greens. This rain just keeps coming and going, and it's getting late now. We're starting to lose the light. Everything's locked up. Can't believe how many eggs I've got. It's nice though that those bluebells have started laying. I guess we'll find out in the morning how tough these strawberries are that I've put in these beds. You can't believe the forecast. It tells you it's going to rain, it doesn't. It tells you it's not going to rain, it does. It tells you it's going to be warm and you get a frost. It's just crazy. But that's another day. The time, as usual, has just flown by. So I'll get myself off home. I'm ready for something to eat, and I'll get the video uploaded.
Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, I welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. Anybody know what that flowering plant is in the wooded area? How's the new roof on the water storage cabinet looking? And what do you reckon to the strawberries? You think they'll survive in there or not? Let me know in the comment section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.